bros and heroes. Gonna tell you about bros and heroes. Gonna tell you about
comic books, costumes,
Facts, boots.
and other stuff.
In this week's issue, 7-Eleven.
Welcome into Bros, Foes, and Heroes. I'm your host, Zach, joined by my sidekick, Mr. Mike.
Hello.
And we have a fantastic episode to get into today. Real quick, just to catch up on some stuff. I feel like we've had a run of just great episodes here lately. We did Barkley vs. Godzilla last week.
That was a big one, yeah.
We had Dr. Hormone, which was ridiculous.
Dr. Hormone was
Skate
fun.
Man.
Skate Man.
Which I will add, it was Neil Adams' Skate Man, and then not too long after, Mr. Neil Adams unfortunately passed away.
Uh-huh.
So
yeah, I'm sure that
we just hadn't brought that up. It wasn't because we did an episode on it.
That's the one they put on his tombstone. Creator of Skate Man.
Yeah, nobody even mentioned that. But I love how the last thing we covered about Neil Adams before his death was Skate Man.
Neil Adams, Sandman guy, right?
No, that's Neil Gaiman.
Oh, same guy.
I mean, a little less than close.
Know.
But
again, I don't know anything about comics really.
Yeah, no, and that's what this podcast is as a whole is me introducing Mike to a character from the world of comics each and every week, and Mike goes in completely blind, and sometimes I do too before I get into these characters, and this is one of them because I am having a lot of fun. You know, we kind of just found our way into this public domain area.
Yeah.
But all this stuff that was printed around this time, there's a lot of stuff that is just so dumb.
Yeah, and weird. Just weird.
Ridiculous. Just like put together super quick. Stories that make no sense.
Yeah.
The Dr. Hormone was a great,
Yeah, made no sense. I
and
speak of death or whatever it was.
It's still just so great to read through these because of it being that way, that it's fun to read through. And we have another character like that this week in number 7-Eleven.
Well, I just want you to mention the name of the comics that this was in.
It was in Police Comics.
Police Comics.
So Police Comics is another one of those anthology type books that was put out once a month. We've
only sold in police precincts.
Exactly.
Sure.
Only police people could buy it.
Sure.
No.
Police people.
Isn't that what they call people who work?
I guess. I don't know.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think police people is acceptable.
Sure. I think that is acceptable. I think
so.
You're right.
Police Comics sold though as a monthly anthology, and everything in there was usually a detective, or it was supposed to be, you would think, a detective or a crime story. Yeah. For Quality Comics, who produced Police Comics,
this is probably a little bit on the back of the Batman thing, right?
Yeah.
Detective Comics.
Yeah, no, this is August 1941. So it's, same time as Batman. Wait,
sure.
Superman's 39? No, Batman's 39. Superman's 37. My years are all off. It's all around the same time.
Yeah.
I'm trying to recall this, and I'm getting older, so my memory is getting worse as well. Anyway, it is a lot of just the amount of comics that were out there at the time.
There was a lot
due to the success of Detective Comics and Superman and things like that. And everybody was trying
action comics, right?
Action comics.
Action.
Yeah, it was Action Comics and Detective Comics.
Yeah, because you always see Action as like the one that.
It's him lifting the car.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
With Superman is what we're talking about. That always sells for a lot of money. But so the character of 7-Eleven is created by George Brenner, and we just assume that I guess he does it all. With a lot of stuff at this time, people worked under different names.
Yeah.
Some of them did everything from drawing to the story to, their own blocking of everything and just produce the whole thing.
I got to tell you, these had to be produced by very, very small teams.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
I mean, you would think
it's more like, so what a lot of this worked is like these companies put together, and maybe we'll just need to do an episode sometime just out of curiosity, or, just behind, but there were these companies that would, like, we've talked about Will Eisner before, who had a company where they hired authors and, different, artists and stuff like that. And they would just put out like comic stories, and books would buy the comic stories from them.
Oh, I see. So like a freelance.
Yeah.
kind of
So
thing.
it could be
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that too.
Okay. All right.
So it just kind of depends.
We don't know anything about Georgie Brenner.
We do
right?
not know anything about Georgie Brenner.
Not Georgie.
Not
but
Georgie.
George.
Yeah, George
E.
space
Brenner.
E
Yeah. Okay.
space. Well, dot space Brenner.
Dot space.
When I look at him, I know that he does some other work for other quality comics books. There's like, was a space, title and stuff, like just different anthology series like this. So
Right.
it was probably just work like this that he stuck to. But our character, again, number 711.
7-Eleven.
We'll get to how he has his name. This predates the convenience store by 5 years.
Wow.
So they're safe.
Huh. Okay. Yeah, I was worried.
I mean, granted, it was 5 years before the convenience stores. So,
All right, so I'm going to tell you a quick thing.
is this hating on Slurpees again?
No,
or slushies
no,
like you did
no.
last week, or however long ago that
I
was?
hate the little ice balls.
But you love slush puppies. I
I
remember
do
that.
love slush puppy because they're so smooth.
Is that their tagline?
I don't know, but it should be. Hey,
Hush
slush puppy,
puppies.
if you're listening. I was at a convenience store the other day, and there's something. It's not a Slurpee. It's not a slushy. It was like a sklurg or something. It was just the weirdest
That's
name
words
for
Godzilla
something.
makes.
That's what I'm
Or
saying.
sounds Godzilla
right?
makes. There used to be like Surge. That was a soda.
No,
You
this
remember
is like
that was like
Sklarge or
that was
something.
like electric green.
Yeah. No, I remember that. Yeah.
Like it looked like it was shocked by something before
This looks like looks like it was shocked.
Well, it does. It looks like
it's
there's
been
something-
electrified. Yeah.
Yeah, like that's what they go for, but
Sure.
really it just
They put a car battery on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, this was it was a regular, like, it looked like a Slurpee machine. Had the two handles with the weird, I'm making gestures like people can see it. It goes
great for a podcast.
round and round, where it mixes and everything. And then above it, it was like in these it looked like 90s Nickelodeon skater letters, and it was like Sklarge or something. It was, I don't know. That's all. Well, originally I was going to tell you the 7-Eleven story. So 7-Eleven.
Oh, that wasn't the story?
No, that wasn't a story.
Oh,
It's
okay.
just an aside.
Okay, sorry.
Once you said I hated Slurpees.
Oh, my bad. Okay.
7-Eleven
Yes.
you know why it's 7-Eleven, right? Because they were open from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m.
I feel like I knew that at one point in time. Like, yeah,
and
sure.
and it used to be a place where you just pull up and the kids would come out and ask you what you needed, and they went in and got it and brought it out to your car. I only know that because my dad worked there.
Oh, I did not know that.
He left the coal mine to work there.
Did he really leave the coal mine to
No,
work at? Oh,
no,
okay.
he never worked in a
I was about to ask if y'all lived in West Virginia.
Not a lot of coal mines here.
No, that's why I was going to ask you if you lived in West Virginia.
No,
Which, by the way, have you ever seen the documentary, The Wonderful Whites of West Virginia?
I have not.
Do yourself a favor and watch that sometime.
You got it.
That is
It's good stuff, huh?
that is a family.
All right.
So,
okay, 7-Eleven.
7-Eleven, not
Police
the
Comics.
convenience store.
Yeah.
Let's get into Mr. Dan Dice here.
And by the way, enjoy a splurge.
if that is even what it is, we're still unsure on the name, but if you see it, grab it.
Swear to God, by the end of this, I'll know what the name of it is.
I don't think it's splurge. I don't even know what you're saying. Splurge or splurge?
Splurge.
So there's a K in there.
I think so. Yeah.
So it's like SKLURDGE, splurge.
I don't think there's a D.
Oh,
I
okay.
think it's just splurge.
Okay, splurge.
Yeah. With like 3 exclamation marks.
If
after.
not,
Splurge.
If not, I'm determined then before the end of this podcast life that you will have an energy drink. Name that if it doesn't exist. So 7-Eleven, Mr. Dan Dice, as we're going to get into him now. I'll go back and forth between the two, but Dan at this time, a young lawyer, and we're kind of taken back 2 years prior is how
Right.
we're introduced to him in the origin here.
Okay.
Now he's there with his buddy Jacob,
Mm-hmm.
or Jake as he calls him.
Sure, old Jake.
And
It's Chinatown, Jake.
still have never seen it actually.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Do yourself a favor.
No,
You know what I'm saying?
As these two men are sitting here, I love the way that this comic sets it up because it goes 2 years ago, two men speak in low muffled tones.
2 years ago, it just starts.
That's
2
where it
years
starts.
ago.
It's the very first panel.
Oh, wow. That's
One, Jake Horn is criminal.
Wait, Jake Horn?
Jake Horn.
Oh.
I gotta start spacing things out.
Jake
I'm
Horn.
rambling off together. That's his nickname. Hey, Jake Horn.
Georgie Brenner and Jake Horn.
Jake Horn is criminally weak-minded with a record of 2 convictions. A third means life imprisonment.
Okay. Boy, times were tough.
The other, Daniel Dice, is a promising young attorney and lifelong friend of Horn's. So, basically, Jakey boy here has committed another crime. It's his third strike. 3 strikes, you're out. He's going to jail for life.
Okay.
His buddy Dan is a lawyer,
Mm-hmm.
a very promising young lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
And Jake says, hey, I need you to take the rap for this third crime for me.
Sure.
And Dan's like, why? Jake's like, the only good thing I've ever done is basically, my wife just gave birth to our first child. I'd like to see our first child.
Yeah.
He's going to jail for life. So only child, I'm assuming.
Mm-hmm.
And be able to hold it and see it for a little bit. And then I'll turn myself in.
Okay.
We kind of look an awful bit alike. Let's just go ahead and do this.
What is the deal with that?
It is. And it's only mentioned once, by the way.
But what I'm saying
is, wait, you're going to get more frustrated by this later.
But what I'm saying is there's so many of those where it's like mistaken identity or let's steal a kid.
Exactly.
Or, hey, you look like me. How about a crime?
So Dan goes, I'll do it.
Sure. Why
so
wouldn't
he goes, exactly. And he goes to turn himself in.
It's a great offer.
2 days later, after he agrees to do this, Dice in Horn's place is sentenced. And it shows the judge saying, Jacob Horn, I sentence you to life imprisonment.
Boy,
Right?
they should really check like driver's license or something whenever these people come into the courthouse.
Just wait. And then the next day, he stands in Westmore Prison. Jacob Horn,
Took one
you
day.
will no longer be known by that name. From now on, you will be lifer number
Here
711.
it comes, yeah.
Okay.
Got it.
So that is where we get the name from.
Okay.
Just know that has already been stated. Then the next panel, we're just 3 panels.
What a flimsy premise.
Hold on. It was 2 days later. Then it was, and the next day. And then the next panel says, then one day, then one day, like just in the future.
Okay,
Then one
sure.
day.
Yeah, then one day.
A few lines in a remote corner of a newspaper attract Dice's eye. Pedestrian killed. Jacob Horn on his way to see his wife and newborn son was instantly killed by a hit-and-run motorist.
Oh my God.
And he was, as he was crossing Navin Avenue today.
Oh, Navin. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's dangerous.
So, and then he just says, Jake killed. That means I'm in prison for life. No, it doesn't, because the newspaper already
It literally
says
says his name.
Jacob Horn.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
So the judge accuses Dan of being Jacob. He says you're Jacob. The newspaper knows he's not Jacob.
Yeah.
But yet he's convinced he's going to stay in prison for
Well, you
life.
got to remember, I mean, this is before DNA or anything like that. I mean, they didn't have picture IDs.
But so
You could say you were
do
whoever.
you think the court's just like, no, that's Dan Dice? Here's the thing that makes it even weirder. So I guess let me get to the point. Then little by little, the grim number 711
Grim.
tunnels his way towards freedom. He
Sure.
straight up Shawshanks this.
Yeah.
We have just kept moving.
This is just
panels.
one day later.
This is just
Yeah.
one day later.
Like, screw this.
And then it
I'm
says, and one day he is free at last. And
Oh.
it shows him escaping.
Well, good.
So you think, okay, this innocent man,
Good for Dice.
this innocent
Wait,
man
that's
who
his
was
name, right?
Dan Dice.
Okay,
Dice
Dice.
is his
Yeah.
last name.
Double D.
Yep. This innocent man who was standing in for a friend. You think, all right, he can be free now. Like he's innocent. That's fine. But then he goes, but I'm forgotten by now. I'm no longer Dan Dice.
I mean, it's been like 4 days. I'm
no longer Dan Dice. I'm number 711, and my place is back behind these walls. Why?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I mean, number one, you said he was a lawyer.
He's a lawyer.
So there's some state board somewhere that knows who the hell this guy is.
Yes.
Why didn't he just go, hey, could you call the lawyer board for me real quick?
Nope. He just decides, I'm free. Nope, never mind. Nobody knows who I am. It's been like 3 days. Because that's what I fear is if I get sick for a weekend, actually, Mike, we record these shows weekly. And my biggest fear walking in every time is like, does he remember who I am?
That's true.
Every single time. And thankfully you have so far.
I guess.
But
usually
if that weren't the case, I'd just have to be like, I just belong in prison because there's, that's the thought though. Is he's like, I'm forgotten. I just need to go back to jail.
I just want to let people know that you have really stepped up your game as far as like printing out these comics and all this stuff. And so I get to see a lot more than I used to, right? This Dan Dice guy, thing? Well, I'm saying this Dan Dice guy has the biggest forehead I've ever seen in a comic book. That is a gigantic, that's a 5 head.
Oh, then you're going to love next week.
Oh, fantastic.
With some of the drawings there that I'll have to bring in. So basically, he decides.
I'll do it. What?
Yeah, that's all. That's
like
the thing.
Like he won a contest or something.
That's the thing too. Is like Jake doesn't have to like fight him or like try to convince him on it at all.
Right.
Dan's just like, yeah, I'll do it. So Jacob gets hit going to see his wife and kids. Like they know where he's going, why he's on. Like that's the thing too, Mike. If you walked outside, and I know this is kind of grim, but if you walked outside the door here and were just hit by a car,
I pray for it every day.
Do you think the newspaper could print like, Mike left? He was, headed home to go eat a sandwich and take a nap.
Yeah.
Like, how do they know what he was up to?
He was mid dump.
So why are you leaving mid dump?
I don't know. It's like, finally, he's released from his skin prison or what? I don't know. That's ridiculous.
Oh, man.
Wow.
So, okay.
The newspaper literally says his name.
It does.
Okay.
So, basically, the premise of 7-Eleven is he is a man who, throughout the day and through all these issues, he stays in like his prison denims, right? Like just think of Cool Hand Luke, which I know the young kids are going, don't even know what that is.
No man can eat 50 eggs.
I love that movie.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
But people my age don't know it.
One other thing, just real quick. I am very impressed that wherever this is taking place, there have only been 710 prisoners before him.
That is true.
That
is true. He is only just number 7-Eleven.
They're doing a good job with crime there.
Let's also, this is only the 40, so we haven't really gotten that.
That's true, I guess. Yeah.
Also, all mobsters talk in a weird way in this. And it's like, kind of feels weird, but
hey there, 7-Eleven.
And they all, they all. Well, actually, it's not even. It's just criminals in general all talk like that.
Sure.
But so he
mumble mouth.
Yes, he wears his prison denims during the day with a giant 7-Eleven on the back of it, right?
Sponsorship.
So, well, I'm just saying though, everybody sees the number 7-Eleven and associates it with Dan Dice, yet nobody knows who 7-Eleven the crime fighter is.
Yeah, that's crazy.
He doesn't wear a mask. He just wears.
He wears no mask.
He doesn't wear a mask. He wears a hat.
He just wears a prison jumpsuit.
Okay. So he wears his jumpsuit that says giant number 7-Eleven on the back during the day.
And I'm assuming, and this is a big assumption on my part, but I've seen some prison outfits before, right? And they usually say like Department of Corrections or something on it.
Yeah.
Is that not anywhere?
No, it's just, well, it has like a name tag there, but we never get to see what it says on it.
Jeff.
Also, it doesn't, I'm trying to find where it's in one of these issues. I have to find because it's hilarious. Oh, here it is. Okay.
The suit is so big. Too.
Yeah. So his suit is like, it says that he takes his, it says tucking his gray denims inside his socks and donning a black cape and hat. So that is his.
Who'd he kill to get those?
I don't know.
Okay.
But I want to say, Mike, we see the color here. There's black all around, right?
Yeah.
Black. So it says tucking his gray denims inside his socks and donning a black cape and hat.
Yeah, he's red.
He's red all the time.
Yeah, it's all red.
But he's described as black. So maybe it was just cheaper. I don't know if red was cheaper at the time to use than black. Now I feel like color is more valuable because in office settings, they tell you to print in black and white to save money on ink.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I don't know if that was the way then.
Well, he looks like The Shadow,
Yes,
maybe, right?
he does.
But with a cape.
Funny enough, the Shadow appeared in Police Comics.
Oh, really?
Along with Plastic Man.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's where
One of my favorites.
Really?
Yeah, I like Plastic Man because he was just so weird and goofy.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's also kind of a...
Yeah. I know.
He's a creep now.
Yeah, he is a creep. Yeah.
Like pretending to be like dresses for people and like...
Yeah.
He was super racist back then too.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't like that part.
Oh.
I didn't know about it, but I don't like it.
Yeah, Mike, all right. We're starting to find out more.
Splurge! That fixes anything.
It does. So, but yeah, he doesn't wear a mask. As you can see, it's just the hat and the brim of the hat that kind of adds shadow over his face.
Yeah.
And so through his many adventures, like he'll go through and he'll just hear about things. I'll let you go ahead and go through that. Just a big giant.
Well, I'd like this. He's like, punching somebody but there's no words or anything.
Well, no, that's the power from the punch.
It's such a big
just
punch.
Bright white light. Yeah.
Can't nobody stop that twerp?
Yep.
Wow.
I'm telling you,
these bad guys are something.
He has no superpowers either.
Yeah, sure.
So throughout, he basically at times will just grab anything around him and throw it.
Yeah.
He throws an axe at a bad guy in one of these.
Okay.
But don't worry, the handle is what hits the bad guy.
Oh, sure, yeah.
He like kicks a stool at somebody at one point in time. Yeah, he uses a door. Like he kicks the door in, and it's a terrible joke. Like knock knock, who's there? Joe. Joe who? Joe Blow. Dope. Don't know what that means. And he kicks the door in on him.
Well, it's very important that they point out that it's number 305. Throughout this too, like the door has the number 305 on it, and I guess like this door is solid, but it's pink. The door originally is red, and then when he hits the guy in the face with the door, it looks like it has glass. Yeah. What an ever-changing world.
And that's how a lot of these issues go, because what this is
look at this guy.
By being procedurals. Like that's basically who 7-Eleven is. It's Dan Dice deciding that, oh, my best friend has died, and everybody thinks that I'm him.
Yeah.
So, and they forgot who I was. So I have to stay in jail, but I can break out at night. He fights crime all at night.
Oh, okay. Well, that's when most crime happens.
And I'm assuming he like uses the tunnel that he dug to escape to go out and fight crime, and then comes back and crawls through that tunnel to get back in.
Why? Okay. I'm gonna get this tattooed on me. It says, "A man with a purpose can't be stopped."
Yeah, that's his.
Really, that's great.
You can actually use the art too.
Yeah, that's gonna be. Yeah, I like this one where the guy looks like he's just had the crap beat out of him.
It is. Yeah. Yes. No. So
he's slobbering.
Let's go through now.
All right, here we go.
The many adventures of 7-Eleven as they go through, because
let's do it.
A lot of it is mainly just random different gangsters. They all have ridiculous names. It's all very similar stories.
Well, I think this is probably about the same time as like Dick Tracy. And then you had a lot of mob stuff going on in the real world. Yes. Right. And so, everybody's fighting a gangster or
we'll just
Nazi.
go through. And I read through every single appearance of 7-Eleven in Police Comics. So we're going to test my memory here to see if I can show you if I remember these. Okay.
You just hate yourself, don't you?
I do. No, I enjoy it. So this one here, 7-Eleven overhears there's a state's witness that's been murdered.
Okay.
And the guy that he was going to testify against is in prison. Okay. Oh, how could he have gotten out and done this? 7-Eleven finds out that one of the guards is working with him and is letting him out.
Sure.
To go kill them or kill the witness, come back and be like, oh, I couldn't have. I was in my cell.
I don't understand why somebody didn't just stumble along his tunnel.
Nobody has. And by the way, there's multiple times too where he's able to like push a cell block away and appear in somebody else's cells.
Oh, good.
So it makes me feel like he has set up an intricate tunnel system throughout the prison.
This is a really bad jail.
That nobody notices.
Just saying, this is a terrible jail.
But basically, when they go to kill the second witness, he catches him, and basically, this is the stupidest thing. So 7-Eleven shows up in the warden's office.
Sure.
And Spike is the name of the bad guy who's accused of breaking out and going and killing these people. And he goes, how could I have killed these people? I was here. And he throws a picture that comes into the office. And he's like, oh, that picture must have happened before I came to jail. And 7-Eleven's like, no, look at the desk calendar. You'll see it was last night.
The desk calendar.
And the warden's like, oh, it was. And so he gets stuck in jail longer and charged for more murders now. Another episode of 7-Eleven.
Wait. He gets charged for more murders.
Well, yeah, for the witness
the witness he killed. Okay, I got you. I'm playing catch up here.
No. Then there's one where I don't remember what that one is. I don't. It's like they all bleed together after a while. Bye-bye. No, there's one where he's out fighting these gangsters that are all the same. But he jumps out, like he's in a house, and he jumps out of a window to escape from them. Yeah. But he grabs a hold of the gutter, which I would think if you're running and you jump and grab a hold of it, it would probably like
gutter's
rip off.
Coming off. Yeah.
But he is able
I've
to
seen Home
use
Alone.
it. Yeah, he's able to use it like a gymnast and like go up on the roof. And the bad guy sticks his head out to look to see where he goes, and he leans down off the top of the roof and punches him in the face.
Hey man, that worked just the way he wanted it to. Yeah, that's great.
Oh man.
He is red throughout this whole thing.
Through the whole thing. Then we get to
what is this?
Is I was about to tell you everything. Everything is a regular gangster until the 5th appearance of Mr. 7-Eleven, and we get the only villain he has for one episode.
It's Batman in a coat.
No.
Oh.
That's the brick bat, Mike, my goodness, I always do that. When I'm trying to make points, I call you the wrong name. Yeah. That is the brick bat.
The Brick Bat.
Brick Bat, yes.
This dude is Batman.
No, it's Brick Bat.
He's wearing a Batman cowl.
So
and a green suit.
So lime green. So do you know what a brick?
This is stupid.
Do you know what a brick bat is?
No, I don't know what a brick bat is.
So apparently a brick bat, looking at it, is like a piece, like a smaller piece of brick that you can actually, like, is broken off from a regular piece of brick. You can like throw.
This dude has bat ears. He has the bat cowl
and uses
on.
A weapon.
And part of his name is Bat.
Yeah, he's the brick bat.
That's a copyright infringement right there.
You
that's
have
a lawsuit.
To understand, this is only like a year after, like, Batman isn't what he is today.
Oh my God. Yeah, but it's like it's blue and black, just like the bat. I mean, come on. That's Batman.
That's Brick Bat.
Okay.
So.
Brick Bat. What a dumb name.
Here's the thing too about Brick Bat.
Hello, I'm Brick Bat.
Is he shows up. This is so funny to me. He shows up to like this professor's house, and he asks, does it work? Does it work? Brickbat does it work perfectly? Will it leave no clues? Is it everything I want it to be?
Wait, what is he talking about?
I'm about to tell
okay.
you.
All right.
And he goes, yes to all your questions, the doctor does.
Yes, Brickbat.
And to those it is used on, death will be quick. And Brickbat says, good, let me see one. And it goes, a brick-like death-dealing object is handed to the Brickbat.
A brick-like death-dealing object.
Bricks.
Oh, come on.
But they're poisonous bricks.
Man, they don't need to be poisonous bricks.
No, they're poisonous bricks.
A brick is bad enough.
Basically,
I still don't understand. I still don't understand. It's an ASMR podcast.
He throws it. Yeah, he throws it and see like a gas when it breaks. Gas comes out and the people die from the gas.
I think I got gas coming out at this point.
So this is also another thing you'll love thrown into this one. It says, and for the next week, the Brickbat steals the headlines.
Sure.
Brickbat still at large. Robs and kills victims.
Brickbat is Batman.
Witnesses report killer hurls a brick-like... I don't know why they can't say just brick. They can say Brickbat, but they keep saying brick-like object that breaks and emits a poison gas that leaves no trace.
Except for the brick pieces.
Well, this paper, I want to say, by the way, is on point. They knew it was Jacob Horn.
That's true.
They know that what the bricks do already, and then it leaves no trace. Like,
what is so there's one on the back here that it's a skull.
Yeah, it's just to show that
with
I
a
guess it's
translucent
poisonous.
brick in front of it. It says a brick-like death-dealing object is handed to the brick bat. Okay. Dude, I am just super lost in this one. This one is
here's something
beyond
else too. So we know that Dan Dice is in jail in place of Jacob Horn.
Yeah.
And the newspaper knows that.
Yeah.
Well, the prison itself knows that, because in the next panel, the warden himself just says, Dan, I'd like to see this brickbat guy occupying one of my cells.
What the hell?
So they just know they have the wrong man in jail.
They're like, Dan, thanks for staying with us.
Thanks, Dan. Wow. So
do
you want to know how 7-Eleven defeats this just tough villain, Brickbat?
Yeah, please.
So he catches him in a room.
And takes all his bricks.
And he moves and he positions himself in front of a window, Mike. That's how he defeats Brickbat.
Wait, what?
He dodges the bricks when they're thrown at him because there's a window behind him, so it can't break against the wall.
Boy, nobody else thought of this.
Well, here's the thing, too. There's probably people outside there dying getting hit by
true.
bricks.
That's true.
It's not ever brought
gaseous, poisonous bricks.
So that is how he defeats Brickbat.
Wait, how does that defeat Brickbat?
Oh, because he runs out of bricks.
Oh, he runs out of bricks, and so he punches him.
And so he just punches him.
Okay. Well,
and then takes him and puts him, he shows up the next morning after defeating him and goes, hey, warden, you know how you said you wanted to see Brickbat occupy one of your cells? And he's like, yes, I did. And then he's like, well, you might have your wish. And he's like, that's funny. Hey, I still haven't looked over the mail. It's too early to joke. Hey, Dan, it says that Brickbat's headed here. Well, how did he know that? Like, it's a lot of that stuff to end all these comics. Like, there's one where it's like, I only had to fight one bad guy, they said that he beat up like 4, thugs guarding the safe. Oh, no, it was only just one. Hey, I just got word that it was only one. How did he know that?
This is Dick Tracy and Lex Luthor.
It's all
right here. Yeah, this is just copyright infringement, all of this.
It's all just them kind of stealing, just everything that's popular at the time. But what gets funny to me, and it's, again, like they look multiple times right at his back where it says 7-Eleven, and nobody knows who 7-Eleven is at all.
Well, what's crazy to me is, does it ever say how he changes into this black-red suit?
No.
Okay. He just says, hey, I'm going to be this guy now.
Yep.
Huh. Then what is going on here?
It's him diving into water.
Okay.
I don't remember what
that looks like, but all right. I'll get them later. I can't let Chico die. Wow. Okay. Man, this is something else. This is okay. So I think this is almost crazier than Dr. Hormone. And the reason I say that is because all of this is like based in real life almost. Like at least Dr. Hormone, it was weird and everything's goofy and all that stuff, This is like you're supposed to take this seriously.
Yeah. Well, then we start getting a run in the later appearances of 7-Eleven.
How many appearances?
15.
Oh my God. Somebody read this garbage.
He keeps getting close calls.
Yeah.
Like there's one at the end of one issue where they show up and the warden's like, go get Dan Dice. Like he'll be able to help with this.
Sure.
7-Eleven's there. And then he's like, well, actually, warden, I was about to leave. I'll go get Dan Dice for you. And he leaves. He's like, oh, that was a close one. It's all those.
But he doesn't wear a mask or
No,
anything.
he doesn't wear a mask.
He just comes in and goes, hey, I'm somebody else.
Yeah. So like that starts to be a thing.
What a world.
But the way, here's some other stories real quick
He
to
knocked
close
this
it
guy's
out.
hat off. Look at that.
He
Punched
did.
him so hard his hat came off.
There's one where he just hears about, while he's out of the prison yard one day, that some mob boss has
710.
His brother has died and he's taken his kids in and is trying to teach them how to like be gangsters, even though the kids don't want to.
Sure.
So 7-Eleven takes it upon himself to like go and make sure that he's not a bad uncle. Like that's one of the stories here.
Even though the kids don't want to.
Even though the kids
Come
don't
on,
want
steal
to.
that candy.
There's one here. We're about to get to one of my favorite ones because to me,
these are wonderful.
Oh, they are.
I have experienced every emotion looking at this.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, don't forget, there's a 7-Eleven. Yeah, there's a 7-Eleven that includes Japanese and German. Oh, yep, super racist.
So racist.
Super racist. Of course, it's it's by this time we're in 42, and as you can see, it's like they drew a swastika.
Yeah, and then put
and
him
has
right
his
through
face busting through it, and it's supposed to be like the red sun, I think, behind that too.
The Tojo thing
And
or
so the bad guys in this, because they want to make sure they can, somehow show that 7-Eleven supports the war effort, is that there's German and Japanese spies working to get people to turn on, to basically get prisoners to help fight the war with them, and they'll promise them their freedom, is what their whole ruse is. But don't worry, because
why is the Japanese guy singing about Mussolini?
Oh, because that is super stupid. Because he misheard the German guy. He goes, so stupid. I thought you said bum instead of bomb.
Oh,
He's calling Mussolini a bum, I guess.
Oh, okay.
I don't know, 40s humor. I didn't get it. But don't worry, 7-Eleven stopped it. This was one of my favorite ones.
That's my favorite part of this whole story. And don't worry, 7-Eleven stopped it. It's fine.
This is one of my favorite stories. Is there's a guy, that's called
little Band-Aid on his head.
the Runt.
The Runt.
Do you see how tiny he is?
Oh boy, he is
so
small.
he's a little guy.
He's a runt.
That's the whole joke there. But he is in prison.
Is this him hiding behind another guy?
No, those are his
okay.
former. It's part of his crew.
Okay.
And he tells them their name is Dip and Drip. Right? Dip and Drip? I think so.
This is wonderful.
Yeah. And basically he tells them, I'm not going to see you, I'll see you guys later. During the night.
Bye, Drip.
During the night, he throws a pill out and the guard steps on it. And when he does, it emits gas that knocks the guard
A
out.
poison gas pill.
It's not poison. It's a pill that makes him fall
knockout
asleep.
gas
but
pill.
he won't know that he fell asleep.
Oh, sure.
And so he sneaks out of his cell and he goes and he kills Dip.
Where do you get this pill?
Don't know.
Oh, okay.
And he sneaks out of his cell and then he goes and comes back in after he kills him. And the guard's like, no, he was there all night.
This is the worst prison that's ever been devised
It is,
by
the
man.
way. 7-Eleven goes to check it out. Oh, I mean, Dan does. Dan finds bits of glass. And you know what his first thought is? Probably from a capsule containing gas that put the guard to sleep.
Sure. He's quite the detective.
But so basically, Runt sneaks out again to get Drip the next night. 7-Eleven decides that he's going to come sneak into Drip's room to kill him as well.
There's
There's
so
a
many
part
names.
where you can see obviously that it's Dan Dice, and the Runt knows it's Dan Dice.
7-Eleven, you're Dan Dice.
So the Runt is going to go tell everybody that it's Dan Dice, and 7-Eleven is chasing him down because he can't let him. And somehow he trips on a rope on top of the prison and falls to his death.
Runt does?
Runt does. It says, in his haste, Runt does not notice a telephone wire that crosses the wall. Because they just have a wire just thrown over the wall. He trips. Yeah.
Well, his little feet.
Yeah.
Poor
And he
little feet.
falls. And then the panel is 7-Eleven saying, well, at least he won't tell anyone that Dan Dice and 7-Eleven are the same person.
Oh, my God.
That's where the story ends. That's where that story ends.
Yeah.
A man dies. And he's like,
I
all
died.
right.
All right. Well, that solves that. Bye.
Don't worry. Next issue
Got
out.
to get back to prison.
No. We have another one with German spies in it. Then we have one where this prisoner escapes, right? And he kills like 2 guards and a fellow inmate on the way out. And he stabs some guy once he gets out to steal his clothes.
Sure.
And he comes back and he wants to take over his old gang and he can't. Because he's like been out too long. That's
really
not this
like-
one, is it?
I really like how you're just rifling through these things at this
Yeah,
point. You're just
because
like,
it's all-
He did that, and he stole some shoes.
Yeah. Oh no, that's this one. That one's stupid too. Sorry, I got ahead of myself. But this guy,
Sure.
I'll come back to it. So he gets out.
Oh, thank God.
Don't worry. He gets out and he discovers that 7-Eleven is also Dan Dice.
Uh-oh.
And they're running and they're getting to a fight, and 7-Eleven punches him in the face and it knocks him off the top of the building into the water. And he goes, "Save me, I can't swim." And he says, "Well, that puts a rest. Well, that puts at rest the mad mind of a killer and seals lips that would have kept me from fighting for right in the name of justice."
So he just lets the guy
He
drown.
lets the guy drown,
And he
so
goes,
he
"Well."
doesn't have to tell somebody that he's 7-Eleven.
But doesn't that make him a killer?
It does.
Okay.
But he's saying, like,
Technicality, boy.
he is saying that by that help, by me not saving him,
Yeah.
means I don't have to kill
Well, that's
him
what I'm
because I
saying.
don't kill people.
Yeah, like okay,
he's
the guy
still-
tripped and fell and he's dead.
Yeah.
So thank God. And then the guy drowns and he dies. So
But
whew,
7-Eleven
another close
still
call.
wants to be seen as like the good guy. Like, I didn't
Yeah.
kill him at least.
Yeah.
You know, there's one where one of the guards.
I'm no 653.
Yeah.
I
There's,
mean, I'm 7-Eleven.
there's one where one of the guards who is working for, like, he's killing people on the inside for the mob on the outside. He discovers that it's Dan Dice and he's trying to figure out how to get away with it. So he dresses up like he steals his cape and hat from Dan and he's like, "I'm going to shoot you," and say that it was 7-Eleven and then escape. Well, the mob,
That's a terrible plan.
Hold on, he had already called the mob that he was working for to tell him he had got the drop on 7-Eleven. They show up, they see him holding Dan hostage, and they shoot him, and Dan escapes.
What a terrible mafia.
It's another one. Dan's like, "I don't have to kill somebody who knew who I was." And then we get to the very last appearance of 7-Eleven, which isn't even a 7-Eleven story at all. It's a story about this guy named Oscar Jones.
Okay.
And all it does is just tell the story of Oscar Jones, how he was a kid,
He liked his big cigars and his
newspaper
guns.
racket,
Yeah.
and then the things he took over, and then how he shot a cop and nobody wanted to deal with him after he shot a cop. Like,
Sure.
shooting other people's fine, but you don't shoot cops.
Right.
Like, even the criminals don't want to deal with him.
Yeah.
And so he's running from the law, and then
Wait, hang on.
eventually,
Here's an inconsistency. I mean, that's what all prisoners should look like. They should be in those black and white stripes.
yeah, none of them are.
Huh. Just that one guy.
But then he escapes jail and he's on the run and he's afraid that the law will come looking for him. And eventually 7-Eleven tracks him down and they get into a giant fight and they're battling back and forth. And I'll read here these. This is as Oscar Jones speaking.
Okay.
In that typical criminal speak that they use here.
Yeah.
"I can remember his powerful paws choking the life out of me.
Duh.
Yep. Den me fast slipping." That's what it says. "Den me fast slipping senses membered me friend Colt. If I could only reach him, he'd save me. He'd stop this fighting fool. Then like in the distance, I hear the shot." That kind of sounded like he was.
Yeah.
"The grip loosens on me throat, and when me head clears, 7-Eleven is laying on the ground shot." I kind of doing a weird like Chicago accent, I feel like, through this, but maybe that's what he's supposed to be, kind of.
Yeah.
"Was he licked? Not him. He tried to raise
Was he
his
licked?
bullet-ridden body, and knowing how that baby could fight, I took
Baby.
no chances and emptied me gun in him.
Emptied me gun.
Bang, bang, bang. 7-Eleven, dead, killed by me, Oscar Jones, racketeer. With him out of the way, I got nothing to fear. A plastic job on me. Puss, and can I start over again where I
Good
left
God.
off?" And then it says,
It's like a soliloquy.
"Yes, readers, 7-Eleven is dead. He was no superhuman being. He was alive, so the day had to come when he would die. But little did he think his life would be cut short by the evil hand of Oscar Jones, racketeer. But it was
Like how it's always in his title. Oscar Jones, racketeer.
But it was his fate, his destiny. And if you look back to the preceding panel, you will see destiny in the background.
Wait,
That
what?
daring new character who starts in where 7-Eleven left off and thrills you in the next issue of Police Comics.
Oh my.
There's just a black silhouette in the background.
Oh, come on.
So Dan Dice, that character there is somebody called Destiny.
Boy, you know you're writing a good comic book when you have to tell people, hey, by the way, look back at that last panel.
Oh man. So there you go. 7-Eleven's dead. So no more 7-Eleven, but still.
Damn.
Actually, you want to know what could have stopped him from dying? The fact that after his friend, got hit by that car, and everybody knew he wasn't his friend, of just getting out of jail.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. I mean, it seems like the justice system really let this guy down.
Yeah.
But
I
I
think Dan let himself down.
Well, the same justice system also allowed him to tunnel back in.
He just had tunnels throughout the whole prison.
It allowed him to pretend to be one guy to the warden and then say, oh, by the way, I got to go get him. And then he's somebody else. He doesn't wear a mask.
No. And that's the thing, like, to fight crime and want to be able to keep,
This is a lot of pages here, dude.
Yeah, it's a hefty boy.
Yeah.
That's all of his appearances. So I did that for you so you could read through them if you wanted to. But there you go.
This is toilet reading.
There you go, Mike. 7-Eleven, Daniel Dice, lifer number 7-Eleven.
Brought to you by Splurge.
Quality comments brought to you by Splurge. So there you go. I'll go ahead and tease next week. Next week, we have another oldie but a goodie. This one's going to be, it's weird to me because, and I'll explain and we'll get into it a little bit more.
Yeah.
But I was fascinated by the person who ended up writing and drawing and doing everything for these comics. It's a similar situation of where, and it's one of a couple characters this person did.
Okay.
And we're going to say, like, I broke them up instead of just covering them all together.
Sure.
Because they're a bit ridiculous in a sense of a lot of comic books are about, I feel like it should be about saving somebody usually, or it's, he's supposed to bring hope. These stories, the hero seems to be more concerned with making sure the villains get punished. And the ways they get punished are kind of weird too.
Okay.
What we're going to deal with next week, though, is Phantoma. And that is actually considered to be the first female comic book superhero.
Really?
She predates Wonder Woman.
Oh, wow.
A creation of Mr. Fletcher Hanks, a man just as weird as the art we're going to get into. So that will be a fun, I'll tell you a story. It's just, he's kind of a recluse, and it's just kind of interesting to me of, him in this world of comics, and you definitely see a different side there, but I'll tell a story just so you know what we're dealing with. He was known to be abusive and a drunk by his family. When his son recalls when he was 12, he did a lot of odd jobs around the town and had saved up money, and his dad had stolen all the money out of his piggy bank and had disappeared. He had taken his son's money to go buy booze and had disappeared and never came back. And a couple weeks later, his son was like, I was still upset about it. And my mother told me
a couple weeks later, and he was still upset about it.
Come on. Just because like how much money he had.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was a couple days later, but, and the mother was like, hey, just count your losses. Good that that's all, like good thing that that's all you had to give up to get rid of the guy. Yeah. But then came to be this cult, like
comic book artist guy.
Years later, after he died penniless and alone. Frozen on a bench.
Frozen on a bench.
Frozen on a bench. And he was born in the 1800s.
You know what else is good frozen on a bench? Splurge,
but he was born in the 1800s. That's a
first. My God.
Wow. So this is going to be really cool to get into next week.
Yeah,
so
I'm looking forward to that.
Phantomas, who we will dive into next week. As always, we appreciate you guys taking the time out to listen to us. You can follow us on Instagram, BroFoHero, or feel free to email us, brosfoesandheroes@gmail.com.
My thought here is that this is time I will never get back from 7-Eleven.
That is, I feel like that's always this podcast.
Well, that's true, I guess. Yeah,
I mean, usually it's entertaining, at least, hopefully.
No, it is very entertaining, and Georgie Brenner really knew what he was doing here.
I will say, and I should have probably added this at the beginning, but it just crossed my mind now. I have, how like when you write books and they have like quotes on the book jacket to try to sell the podcast.
Right.
I have a quote from my wife.
Not the podcast.
Oh, I'm sorry. For the book. I have a quote from my wife.
Oh, fantastic.
On our podcast.
Oh, great.
She listened the other day, and she said.
Which one did she listen to?
She listened to, it was either Dr. Hormone or it was the Barkley Godzilla one.
Okay.
I was in the room doing something else, but she was listening to it because she likes to listen to podcasts while she works on stuff.
Yeah.
But she said that was, I don't remember what the joke was, but I feel the quote was, that was disgusting yet hilarious. So
that's what we do.
I think that sums up our podcast.
Yeah.
Great. I don't know about usually we're not really disgusting.
Yeah.
Unless
No. I mean, we don't.
It's not like she didn't mean it like.
Yeah. Not for disgusting sake.
No.
Yeah.
The right amount of disgusting.
Yeah, exactly.
We are like the boys of podcasts.
We're like the scourge of podcasts.
The scourge of podcasts. Make sure the next time you're at your local grocery store, you tell them, hey, I want that scourge.
I didn't find out what.
Because it doesn't
where
exist,
it's sold.
Mike.
It's something.
It's not.
Oh, yes, there is.
I love this is even better while we're both looking for scourge.
Okay, it's not scourge. I found it.
Is it scourge?
No, it's Froster.
Wait, what?
Yeah, it's completely different, but it's Froster. That's what it's called. I thought it was called scourge.
Froster and scourge?
Froster.
You got confused.
Yeah. Well,
Oh, man.
as you get older. This is, I don't know who Froster is made by, but Froster, it's at all your local Circle K's.
So there you go.
So it's a Circle K version of a Frosty, but I like the leveling of this. It's red.
You have
then
to do that
then
yourself,
blue,
though.
then green. Oh, okay.
I mean,
It doesn't come
you
out
gotta
that way?
No, you got to do that yourself.
It's not like buying plaid paint.
No. Wait,
Okay.
they sell plaid paint?
No.
Oh,
No, it's just
I got
something
super
made up.
excited.
Yeah. That would be kind of cool though if it came
It
out.
would. I was going to head, because if it was, I was going to head
Yeah.
over to Walmart and pick me up a gallon of some plaid paint and some and some headlight fluid because I'm
some
running
splurge.
low. Well, some splurge
Sure.
and some headlight fluid because I'm running low.
Hey, if nobody's out there making anything
And
called
then
splurge, feel free.
I got to be prepared because I got a trip to all that oceanfront property in Arizona
Sure.
this weekend.
Sure, okay, George.
And I ran out of things to reference.
No, hey, again, I want to thank you for all the research you do on these things,
No, well, I appreciate it, and hopefully somebody else does too.
and I want to thank Georgie Brenner for not being able to draw a human head.
George E. Brenner.
I knew him well. I just call him Georgie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, old
So-
Georgie Brenner.
There you go. I think that does it for us for this time.
Hey, it was fun.
As always, well,
Yeah,
we have
had a
a
good time.
blast,
Yeah, it
and
was
hopefully
great.
you have a blast with us. That's the part of this is we get to have fun together.
Froster. That'll
Not splurge.
give you a blast.
All right,
Blast of frozen goodness with Froster.
do they sponsor us?
Maybe. We'll see.
Froster, the
See?
official.
Screw you, Testacuzzi. It's
Screw
Froster
you,
now.
Testacuzzi. Froster, the official. No, I'm still. You know what? It doesn't exist yet, but when it does, we'll already be like, we can pitch these people. Hey, we were pitching you before you even existed.
That's true.
Splurge,
Splurge.
the official drink of this podcast.
We don't even say the name of the podcast. It's just of this podcast.
So then if the podcast changes, we can still keep
Sure.
this
Oh,
in it. Yeah.
that's forward thinking right there. I
you
like
go.
that. That's great.
So, we can't wait until next week's episode. Phantom will bring to you, obviously presented by Splurge.
What? It would be really cool if like you stopped into your local Circle K, the makers of Froster, and they had like the collectible cups, and it was like 7-Eleven and
Oh, that'd be
Fatima
awesome.
or whoever
If it
we're
was
talking
all
about.
the old, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe we could do. It is all public domain. So.
Public domain cups. Hey, would you guys buy public domain cups if we made?
Yeah, like would you buy to like take into 7-Eleven and get your own slushies?
I have to fill
or
this
slush puppies
No.
or a splurge.
Splurge.
That's right. You heard it here first.
Yeah.
Splurge. All right. I think that about does it for us. We're losing our minds.
If I
but
titled these episodes, this one would
Be
be called
Splurge.
Splurge, brought to you by Circle K.
Oh, I thought you were going to do
You know.
Splurge brought to you by
Splurge
Splurge
brought to you by Thirst.
at your local Circle K.
Sure.
All right. Well, as always,
You've tried to get out of this
I
thing
have,
several
I
times.
have.
I'm so sorry.
yeah, I don't care. I mean, we can keep going if you
No,
want to.
no,
All
I'm
right,
done.
Fine. Now you are.
Yeah.
Well, I want to keep talking about Splurge.
What was the name? Okay, hang on. One more thing. What was the name of the? There was something like that in Futurama, maybe.
I don't.
Didn't they drink something?
I think they
like
did.
Splurge?
I think they might have. My Matt Groening knowledge is primarily Simpsons.
I don't know where I'm getting this splurge from, but it's really like cementing in my brain at this point.
Well, maybe you're willing it into existence.
My poor wife, when I go home, I'm just going to say splurge a lot.
And she's going to be so
Oh,
lost.
she's going to hate it.
Or do you think she has a notebook and she's like, he had another splurge incident today?
No, there's no notebook because that would leave evidence.
Well, I mean, maybe she's like giving it to your doctor.
Oh, no, I don't have a doctor. Yeah, we don't invest in such things.
Listen to us so Mike can get a doctor. All right. So
yeah, it was great. Thank you, man.
All right. As always, we appreciate you taking the time out to listen. And until next week, everybody stay safe.
Splurge.
Got a gun. Bros and heroes. Gonna tell you about bros and heroes. Gonna tell you about.
This has been a Rogue Media podcast.